This is Fam Electric Ghost, and this is episode 96, where Peg, Fam Electric Ghost, talks up two new tracks, Feelings with No Reason, FUK, and Wishlist Pain. So we typically don't talk about two songs in an episode, but we recorded these songs kind of back to back on Thanksgiving, and we felt like we wanted to talk about it. There's different things going on with these songs. First of all, Feelings with No Reason is a further advancement or adaptation of a previous song that we were working on. So there was a song we were working on that we really liked it, but we found that a lot of times when we're writing songs, we'll work up a song and we kind of do long extended jams. Some of our songs go out like 7 to 8 minutes. And we had a song called No Restitution Without Consent. It was about 6 minutes and 41 seconds. We found that the groove really occurred about 3.5 minutes into the song. That the last 3 minutes of the song is really the song. So we took those last 3 minutes and basically called it a new song called Feelings with No Reason, FUK. This is a Stephanie and Windhover song, and it's, kind of a backlash song, a song where we're talking about what happens when you have a breakup in a relationship where you were feeling for someone and you're still kind of reeling from the idea. We started this kind of concept with If Love Has No Ceiling, Why Is My Heart on the Floor, which is the opening track of Dark Ghost, which is going to come out in the next couple months, probably in the beginning of 2019. We're just taking care of some copyright and production issues. We previously put a lot of singles from Dark Ghost out through Landar. In order to get the physical CD done through Amazon, we have to actually take down all the singles from all the streaming services and then republish through TuneCore. That process takes a little bit, so we're in the process of doing that, and we're probably going to release Dark Ghost in multiple volumes. And the original track list is somewhat there. It's going to be kept as part of the whole concept of the multiple volumes. But we're going to take some of the more recent songs with a scattering of the original core songs of the album. But when it gets back to the whole idea of if love has no ceiling, why is my heart on the floor? This concept, this song takes the idea that you're reeling from a relationship that fell apart. And, and you're talking about, there is a ceiling to that love, and you're still, if there's a ceiling to that love, then why are you still reeling from it? Which is a new theme, well, not a new theme, a theme we've been continuing since that Dark Ghost track. So we're feeling that this song is going to probably end up on Dark Ghost Volume 1, and along with some of the other new songs we've done that are in the same vein. And we're very happy with the VT-4 from Roland, the Vocal Transformer, because it allows for a deeper sound and just, I think, a little bit higher quality than the VT3. But the VT3 is still useful in some ways. I find that it has a tone that's still worth using, and we used it on a lot of tracks this year. And so we're probably going to go back and forth, and we use all of our three vocoders for different reasons. The initial one we used again was the JDXI, which has a very advanced vocoder system, and it's in stereo, which is useful. The VT3 had like a monophonic signal that we converted to stereo, as we've talked about, by running it through the MX1 mixer. We output 2 lines coming out of the MX1 back to our Zoom. It gives us a stereo signal. But this song, again, is just, what we did that was interesting was we took our Make Noise morphogene and we sampled the last 3 minutes of the song where we found the groove that made, Feelings with No Reason. Then we brought that, excuse me, brought that into the Zoom R24 as brand new tracks, kind of changed the EQ on it. And then we added additional vocals with the Phantom. So we brought the Phantom in to kind of sing a second part on top of the song. And really there's nothing else but the morphogene, the remixing, and then the Phantom vocal using the VT4. And we've done the Phantom vocal before with the JDXI in the format on the JDXI, and it works pretty good in the bass setting of the JDXI. We just used the pitch control in the format and some of the probably the harmony capability on the VT4. And the VT4 signal path is really interesting. It has a lot of different choices. I think I've talked before where you have a lot of variations on the reverb, there's a noise filter control system. There's the sensitivity is really, we found that we have to play with that a lot. It is a little bit more sensitive than the VT-03, so you have to be careful. And I guess that's why there's a noise filter circuit now where you can control that. It would really be cool if there's actually, a level indication on the noise filter, unless I'm not getting it, but it would be better if there were more level controls on the machine, and I would appreciate it if it was actually bigger. I know people like making things small, and it is useful if you go into a show, because part of what we want to do with this equipment going forward is a combination of the VT4, Arteria 6U for its Eurorack capability, and the make noise more. The Teenage Engineering OPZ gives you a really small footprint when you want to do a show, similar to a DJ with the CDJ. We're also thinking about the Roland Axe Edge, which is our kind of dream guitar. But as I said before, because we're heavily into recording and doing collaborations, we're very interested in the new Tascam 24, which is an analog hybrid mixer recording console. It's an analog mixer with digital recording capability, and it's very extensive, has a lot of inputs and a lot of outputs. It's got Bluetooth capability. We're very interested in seeing if it gives us a wider, fatter sound. Because it's analog, we're assuming that compared to our Zoom R24, it's going to give us that increase in quality. We saw a big increase in quality in our music from the R16 to the R24. It just has a wider sound, a more clear sound on the vocals and the drums and everything. This seems to be a better sound recording circuitry. We're thinking that the R24, the Model 24 from Tascam, because of its analog capability, will have a similar effect to our music. It will give us that fatness. Because we use analog synths such as the Moog Mother 32 and the Arteria Mini Brute 2S, and also the Moog DFAM, we feel that those the sound processing, if we can keep it analog in the initial mixing, and then when the recording goes to a WAV file, we can maintain a lot of the headroom that we want. And we've talked about the compression on some of the DAWs that we don't like, that we found that we don't like what it does to the signal. Maybe we're not experts at it, but we find that if you use analog mixers with analog synths, that this sounds better to me. That's a personal opinion. But so getting back to the Feelings with No Reason, people can kind of figure out who we're aiming this at. We've been very upset over the last year of the situation that happened with our, the whole issue when you work with other people. Sometimes they have different agendas and different things they want to do. But when you work on a project, you put your heart and soul into it, and somebody just totally walks away. And then, to me, it's not fair. It's somewhat frustrating, and we find that the person was just not upfront, and felt like we were used to a certain extent. And when people feel like they're used, it's not a good feeling, because we just think about this: if somebody praises you in a way that you didn't ask for a lot of praise, and they continually praise you, and then suddenly you criticize them a little bit, and then they totally just walk away. You're wondering if that praise was nothing but a game, nothing but a way to manipulate you to get you to do something. And then if you really loved the music that somebody was doing, and you had a disagreement or you had a little argument, like a little like a tiff, like something just like you had a little problem. Like when you have a relationship, sometimes you get mad. I got mad at my best friend one time. We didn't talk for a couple months, and then we got back together. Like if you have a best friend, if you do that, you find out what's wrong. You ask them what's wrong. But some situations people aren't at the level to be able to do that, and that's very frustrating, especially when there's art involved and you got a piece of work and you felt like you did a lot of work on it and it just went nowhere. So a lot of with this thing, the feelings with no reasons, like, okay, maybe I had too many feelings, and Stephanie and Josephine are my method of, kind of projecting something that happened to me and making it a little far removed by having Stephanie or Josephine, and then you're assuming that it's like about a man. But in a lot of cases, it could be that, I'm actually talking about a woman or something. You can't really tell. And, because we don't want to name check people for all kinds of reasons, but it's a way to kind of tell a story and not tell everything about the story. So that's the reason behind that song. There's a lot going on in it musically, just because the original composition had like a D-fam drum beat, and it had an Arturia Beats That Pro drum beat. The D-fam drum beat was more sonic percussion that wasn't actual full drum percussion, but just a different type of analog percussion. And that's kind of the nature of the D-fam. You can use it to do things that aren't necessarily drum machine typical. We also used our Roland Juno, and we used the System 1M, used the Make No Noise Math module, which we find is very interesting, and it allows for a lot of cool modulation. And that kind of segs into Wishlist Pain. Now, Wishlist Pain is a Phantom song, and we don't always do Phantom songs, but we felt like we had something there to do with this song. And it is a blatant criticism of our current leadership in this country, specifically Mr. Donald Trump. We started our career with Something Wicked, which had the line, "Something wicked this way comes, TRUMP." So we're no stranger to criticizing this president. We felt back when we did Something Wicked that there was going to be a lot of pain, a lot of things happened because of his ineptitude and racism and intolerance and just general stupidity. So Wishlist Pain is just a continuation of our disagreements or our criticism of this president. We felt that he's not well read. He doesn't seem to understand American history. He doesn't seem to understand his role as president. He's a divider, not a uniter. He goes for the cheap shot, and the fan basically has a wish list, hoping that he kind of feels the pain that he's actually invoking on a lot of people. That we feel that the pain we're talking about is like the pain in his brain of trying to actually think when he's not a thinker, when he's trying to actually understand things, when he's not very well read and well put together. And you'd be hard pressed to say that he is a well read, articulate person when you read his tweets and you listen to him talk. He seems to talk at the level of under, like pre-high school, and you could say in some cases like kindergarten. So he seems to have had a massive loss in capability, and so this has been documented in the press, and you can either agree with it because you're a total Trumper and be very upset at me, but at the end of the day, he hasn't even visited the troops. If he's such a pro-military person, he stays in his gilded cage, and he doesn't visit the troops, but he uses them for political purposes. And Madison and the founders and de Tocqueville in our history warned against demagogues, and I think we've got one of the worst examples of what the founders feared in office now, because of people who don't think, or people who are reactionary and don't feel that they were represented. So you've got the politics of resentment, politics of being scared of the other. The world is a wide place, it's a universal place, there's a lot going on, and to shut yourself off, to be kind of like what happened after the Great Depression. You had a lot of people that didn't want to be involved in World War II, didn't want to be globalist, didn't think with the wide vision of FDR. But it was the FDR thinking that got us out of it and got us to win against the Axis instead of being part of it. And so this song is a real challenge to the current structure. We used the VT-4 to do the phantom voice, which we used to do with the JDXI. We've done it with the VT3, but we found that the JDXI phantom voice we liked a lot, because there were some things about the format and the bass tone, and specifically in the JDXI, there's a bass capability on the vocoder that when you use the format, it's really, we like it. We've used it, most of the early Phantom songs were done with the JDXI in the bass tone mode. We now have tried the VT3 in a lower pitch mode. The bass tone mode we didn't really like as much. We've used now the VT4 with the pitch and the format control with the actual harmony, which the harmony we find we use a lot. It kind of builds up a good sound, and it's just been a really good tool, and the portability of it is interesting, and the signal path is very clean. We've talked about the mic sensitivity. We've played with that. We have a studio electronics mic, which we like a lot, but we're looking at some other mic systems to increase our capability. As we said previously in this segment, we believe the Model 24 from Tascam is an awesome mixing console for the kind of thing we like to do with hardware workflow. Having sliders and faders and dials, knob per function, is what we like. We feel that we're kind of hands-on. We don't like diving into a computer. We like the touch and feel of a real slider and a real knob. So we're the kind of people that would, want a Moog 1 or a Prophet or a System 8 to, take advantage of that knob per function. And just kind of going back into value in synthesizers today. If you look at the System 8 from Roland, which is their behavioral modeling synth, it's a plug-out synth, has amazing amount of capability. Now, the build quality from some people would say, well, it's not as hefty as a Prophet 12 or an XL or a Moog 1, but its subtractive synthesis workflow is one of the best in the industry. The ability for it to become a JX 3P, to become a Jupiter 8, a 106, to actually become an SH101. It just has amazing capabilities, and for $1,400, it's hard pressed not to like this synth. This synth is probably, it's a desert island synth. It has a lot of capability. A lot of people wanted a Jupiter 8 to come back in full form. I would rather see a Jupiter 16. I would like Roland to actually build a Jupiter, not like the Jupiter 80, but actually make a Jupiter that has the same look as the original Jupiter and make a 16 voice. And just, keep the same motif, kind of like what Moog did with the grandmother. I mean, they kind of made a retro-looking synth, but it's modern. I think Roland would have a lot of fans if they actually brought back a Jupiter and made it 16 voice and kept the same workflow, same look, and gave it the heft of the original Jupiter, just to give it that kind of solid body with aluminum like sidebars. That would be my hope. But this kind of conversation just talks about the synthesizer today. There's a lot of cool choices to have not per function analog and digital synths where you can be hands-on and write and play and record right at the synth. And with mixing consoles like the Model 24, with synths this year that were released, the Grandmother, the Prophet XL, the Moog 1, the Prologue 16. There's the Waldorf. That there's a lot of really interesting synths that have been put out this year. I would say in the history of synths, if you go back to the big, signature moments, you get the Prophet 5, which again, the XL and the X have released a Prophet 5 module as part of that system. The Jupiter 8, the DX7, the Moog Model D, the Memory Moog, the Poly Moog. I mean, there's certain kind of watershed moments in synthesis. And it's interesting, this year we've got some some incredible instruments being put out. And it includes like the TH Engineering OPZ, which is a massive revelation for those who've been kind of forced to, as electronic musicians, consider being DJs. A musician wants to play and wants to be able to have a way to, do a performance with all the aspects of being a musician. If you're a keyboardist, you want to have that keyboard. Now, there are a lot of people that are using the MIDI controllers, and there's nothing wrong with using a MIDI controller with a soft synth. But there's nothing like using a real analog synth or a non-per-function synth like a Prophet or a Moog. And I believe, the kind of middle point for that is the OPZ allows you to construct albums like you're using like FL Studio or Pro Tools or Ableton Live, but you have a hardware synth that's a synth. And, if you connect it to a MIDI keyboard, you can trigger it, you connect to a MIDI mixer, you can do some really, really interesting things. I think it makes you be able to do a lot of improvisation, which is what you really want to do as an electronic musician. It's kind of like Moog always indicated they felt his synth should be played live. And, if you think about, the things you can do today, if you get like a good Eurorack module system, like a Doffer or an actual Arturia 6U like what we have, you go on the road with your Eurorack, have an OPZ as a central controller, have a MIDI controlled keyboard. You could use like a guitar like the Roland Axe Edge, and you can do an interesting performance with these modules. Similar, like if you think about the boutique modules from Roland, you could have those in a rack system and have a lot of capability. With a VT-4 vocoder, you can do a lot of cool vocal tricks. It's just, there's a lot of interesting things you can do, and you don't have to have a big footprint with massive road cases where you got to bring your big gear. You can leave your main gear in your studio and have like an OPZ can be in your pocket. So you don't have to worry about somebody stealing it out of your van. You could have your Roland Axe Edge like slung around your back and you could carry your Euro rack in the case. So you can have these things less out in the open and easier to manage, and not have to worry about leaving stuff in the gear. You could carry everything in 2 hands in a backpack to the show. I think that is a revelation for electronic musicians, that all this gear from all these different companies is now converging on the ability to play in the DJ space. And that is something I'm hoping that there's more opportunities, though we have always pushed the live opportunities through Facebook Live and YouTube to do performances. And we're very keen on trying our YouTube performance this time just to see what happens, and we push it out to our Facebook just to see if we can get a good response. We had a good product review of the VT-4. We've had a higher level of viewership on YouTube there. Though on Facebook we can get like 3,000 people or 1,000 people to look at one of our live concerts. YouTube is struggling to get more than, under 100 or greater than 100. But we're going to keep on pushing to see what we can do there. We are very keen on collaborating. We've got some collaborations we're in progress on, and we're very excited about some of the stuff we're working on. We hope to do a collaboration with the band from Bermuda, The Heritage, and we're hoping to do a second collaboration, where it's actually be our third, with DJ Squash Kid, or Stefan Kidd from the Wolf Sparrow crew in New Hampshire. So shout out to the Wolf Sparrow crew, and shout out to the Heritage. We're going to follow up with them again and see if they've got our stems so we can work on something. And we'll be talking to you all later. Thank you.
I hope it hurts. Here's